Hey there, community. Jason Rahm here, and I have with me Joe Martin. Joe, how you doing?
Good. Awesome. Glad to be on with you.
Yeah, and so this is the first of what we hope to be will be several projects over the quarters to come. But we're trying to partner with the sales organization from DevCentral and to build out fun, compelling use cases around our solutions. Joe, why don't you talk real quick just about how you bring about use cases in the professional environment when you're talking to a customer?
Yeah, I think really a lot of that revolves around customer demands and customer requirements. So a lot of times we have to be very creative and innovative in how we use the products to meet customer demands. A lot of times, I shouldn't say a lot of times, it's not uncommon for a customer requirement to not be something that's sort of natively built into the product. And so we have to sort of innovate on the fly. Luckily, most of our data planes are very programmable. You think about iRules, and with Nginx, things like Node.js and Lua and those types of things, and all the flexibility that is in the F5 distributed cloud. So luckily, we have a lot of flexibility and programmability to sort of meet those customer use cases. So yeah, it's that's the fun part of my job, right? Is listening to customers' requirements and figuring out how we can meet those needs.
Yeah. Okay. And so we're approaching, at least with this project, we're approaching it from a standpoint of just fun. We're going to look at how can we take the use cases that you work with, on a consistent basis with customers, and maybe scale that down into something that people can play with in their own home at a no or low cost. And so, this first project that we're going to do is going to be based around robotics and how we might plug in a couple of use cases around our solutions into that. And so you had an idea. You want to share, kind of what we're going to build our use case around?
Yeah. So I sort of, as a hobbyist, am a bit of a maker, like to design and 3D print things. I've built a few robots, various types of robots, and we're going to kind of take that robot idea and we want to build a autonomous robot that can kind of roam around by itself, auto navigate through some environment. And then I think to sort of build in the sort of the F5 use case, if you will, maybe be able to control it via voice commands, some sort of large or small language model, depending on where we host that model. And then think of, maybe I would say, fabricate some ways that we can abuse this robot to or its control plane to make it maybe do something it's not intended to. So I think we're still sort of ideating on exactly what that looks like, but maybe in this world that we create, if you will, there are some areas that it's not supposed to go to because there's proprietary information in there, and it has a camera and microphone and things like that. So maybe it's never supposed to go to this area, and how can we, do prompt injection or whatever to get it to go somewhere or do something it's not supposed to do. Kind of
Right.
a high level.
Yeah, so we may use some AI gateway in there, and how do we fold that in to the robots that we're going to build, and how far do they go back to a central location? Is it do we do edge processing for that? Do we do a little bit of edge processing and bring it back to a central hub? So some of that stuff we're going to discover along the way. What can we actually build? And so some of the ideas that you had around that robot, whether this is edge or let me see, black's fine. This is edge device, and we can start at an edge device that the robots will talk to. So we have, you'll have a robot out here, I'll have a robot out here, and maybe we have to have some network to network since our robots won't be together at first. But even on the robots, we have, ESP32 Wi-Fi module, right? is going to be the robot controller. And we talked about, so you had an idea on autonomous and environment, what technology that we would use for it to be able to do that.
Yeah. So generally speaking, in this sort of, I need to be able to see and navigate my environment. We need some sort of ability to see that environment. There's a few different ways to do that. There's sort of line of sight sonar type of distance detection. There's what they call stereo cameras that can sort of discern depth, but all of those are sort of directional. With LiDAR, think of it like radar, except it's using light instead of radio waves. Here's this spinning thing that's shooting light, and we're getting back readings on that time of flight of the lights. And this allows us to map the whole environment in a 360-degree manner. Given our budget constraints, this will definitely be sort of a single level line of sight, if you will. Whatever the height of the LiDAR is on the robot is the level we're going to be able to see. But it allows us to, one, map our environment, two, save that map of our environment, and three, then navigate that environment. And as we get further in here and maybe make some more recordings, you'll see how that works. And even if we're navigating after we create the map and we see, let's say we put a box in the way or my cat walks by, you'll actually be able to see that live on the LiDAR, that there's some object that wasn't there before and it will navigate around them. So
we have mobility, wheels, legs, treads. I'm sure there's more that we could add on there. But I think of, I've mentored robotics teams for a while. Treads were pretty popular at the beginning of my time. By the end, they were all on mechanism wheels or omni wheels of some kind to kind of slide around the course instead of having to be directional in their movements. So in this, you'll have a bot, I'll have a bot. One of the things so we'll have LiDAR to kind of map, but we probably also want to do some object detection. So we'll add a camera module. And as we're looking at parts, and I'll get a bill of materials together for you, the audience, if you want to get it and go along with us over these next 9 to 12 weeks that we'll be working on this. The camera module actually won't be connected directly to the robot. It might be. We haven't decided there. You can connect it'll be a separate ESP32 camera module. And so one of the things we thought of is we could connect it via the SPI interface between the robot controller and the ESP32 that's the camera. We could do it directly. One of the concerns I'd read about is there might be some bus contention issues or speed issues with camera feed. You might be better off doing that via the Wi-Fi or directly. So we might connect them via Wi-Fi that way. But controlling the camera, we might be able to do through MQTT, and we can load balance MQTT through Mosquito and maybe put all that on the edge device. And so this edge device, we talked about a Raspberry Pi being the edge device to lead off with. We talked about a Jetson Nano, but those are kind of hard to come by right now. So Raspberry Pi, and maybe we put K3S or K8S on here, and then we can containerize a bunch of stuff there. Mosquito can go. Why does it keep a
one of the things I'm thinking about here too is I think to make our life easier, we don't want to reinvent the wheel, if you will, here. And so I'm imagining us using ROS or ROS2. ROS is a robot operating system, sort of the go-to standard in the robotics world, mostly because there's a whole infrastructure already built there for us. But with that said, the compute power of the ESP32 won't allow us to run full ROS on it. So that's probably going to be running, is it mini or micro ROS? And then we'll need to be running the actual ROS server, if you will, on this edge device, or maybe a separate one. And the reason I say a separate one is because ROS typically runs on Ubuntu 22, 24, depending on what version you're running. So we'll see where we land. I guess it's part of the journey, right? Is figuring out what will work. and what will run and where.
Okay, so any other things you have from the get-go on what we're going to try? I guess we could put use cases that we might look at.
Yeah. One other thing I would say is I really like the MQTT mosquito type of option. However, I would say that there's just the native publisher subscriber architecture of ROS would allow us to basically have the camera ESP32 be a publisher of a camera. I think it's camera image topic. And then we could have the edge device be just a subscriber of it. That functionality is built into ROS, but it may just for fun be cool to use MQTT and see what we can do there to stream that feed.
Nginx to manage, our connectivity into the environment, right? We might have, we want to message in there. So Nginx to manage reverse proxy. And then, of course, we want some AI gateway potential for prompt injection.
Well, and another piece of that that's going to be interesting, I haven't really given a lot of thought to, is great. Here we have this LLM or SLM, and we can talk to it, but how do we convert the things that we've said and the thing that the model understands into intent to the robot? How do we convert that into a command for the robot to actually go do something? So that will be interesting. Maybe someone's already built that. We'll go find. Like I said, let's not reinvent the wheel.
That sounds like an MCP tool we can either find or build. So for speech to text and then intent behind that as well.
Yeah.
So okay, well, I think we have at least something to get started with, and so from there we can do bill of materials, and then we'll get unboxing, assembly, and then get into the actual physical control of the robot. Hey, this is a working robot, and then we can start into the autonomous control. Anything else you want to predict? Or
the only other thing I wanted to call it here, maybe in this first little shoot, is you mentioned that we're trying to keep this cheap. Giving people who think they might want to join in on this, I think we're looking to be in that couple $100 range with the bill of materials, and we may end up going slightly over that. Really, a lot of that's going to depend on what do you already have. Do you already have a RPi 5 or 4 laying around? Do you already have a box that's running some sort of Intel processor? One of the problems I've run before is a lot of the packages that you want to run on ROS aren't built. There's no packages available for like ARM 64 processor environments. So of course we could try to build, but there's all these dependencies and it can get ugly real quick. So anyway, just a comment about the budget and where we're trying to be.
For this specific project, we're going to try and be on the cheaper side of things. And if you just want to follow along and see what we build, awesome. We'd love to have you along the way. But yeah, if you have a couple $100 laying around, you want to do it with us, that'd be awesome. So I'll get this out and the bill of materials out very shortly, so that before we get too far down the road, you can join us if you want to. All right. Well, Joe, thank you for making time, and I look forward to working on this with you.
Absolutely. This is going to be fun.